Yggdrasil looks so magical at night. It's strange to think that each of our lives is a leaf on one of those branches.
Yeah. Hola, mis amigos. It's HyruleDAD. How is you? How is you? I hope you're doing good. Okay, so Dragon Quest 11. This game is huge. I recorded about 50 hours of it, and by the time I finished the game, I was in 94 hours. 94 hours. That's 94 hours of my life. What could I do with that? I could have probably finished a college class, but you know, this game came out right in the middle of me being a senior and having 2 classes left, and I had to put school aside. Priorities, right, guys? Priorities. First world problems. So, Dragon Quest 11. What is it? It's a really, really, really big JRPG. It's huge. I mean, if you were to compare the sizes of it, I mean, it would be. I mean, it's huge, huge. Battles are epic. Monsters are epic. Bosses are epic. Turn-based RPG. Now, there are 2 ways that you can actually fight in this game. The first way that you can actually fight in this game is through being able to move around, which I do not recommend because at the end of the day, really, if you can't move around, they're still going to hit you. So I would recommend just doing the regular stand still because it doesn't matter at the end of the day. But like I said, and you have at the end of the game, and it's not spoiler. At the end of the game, you're gonna actually have more than 4 members. So in reality, you have like your party, and then you have your backup party, which is really great. In case all your party dies, you have your backup party. Which your backup party would don't ignore them like I did for my first 2 bosses, which that's how I found out I had a backup party, and they were super. I mean, they were leveled up, but they were super weak because I hadn't upgraded their weapons. So don't do that. Take a lesson from HyruleDAD. Do not do that. Anyways, going back to this game. Yeah. So really good. Oh, and then the characters, English voice. They're voiced amazingly. They got some really good actors to do it. This game is a combination of Breath of the Wild and any JRPG. And I say that because the game is open scale world, but at the same time, there's a lot of linearity in the game. And the way I want to try to explain this is that the game is open world. You can go anywhere you want, when you want. You can grind whenever you want, where you want. However, in the linearity of it comes in where there's, you have to go do one thing, and normally when you go and you gotta figure out what quest you gotta do, you go town to town, and I'm only gonna say it from the beginning because I really don't want to spoil the rest of the parts. But you go town to town, and there's a problem going on in every town. Now, how do you find out what's going on in your town? Well, there's NPCs. There's not 100, there's not 50, there's not that many NPCs. But you talk to them. You talk to, they normally have like a purple bubble which will guide you in order to see who you need to talk to. You talk to them, you figure out what lesson. Also, if you press I believe the X button, or the Y button, it gives you a little list of what you need to do. You can also press a minus button, and the minus button has like a party talk, and the party members will tell you exactly what you need to do. Also, in case you're playing this game and you stop playing this game, God forbid, for a while, for a couple of months, and you're 50 hours into the game, you come back, there's a quick recap. So you'll be able to know where you're at, what you need to do. Okay, going back to this. Now, once you figure out what you need to do, you go and do it. You go on your questing adventures with your party, and you level them up. The game isn't too grindy. Now it is a Dragon Quest game, so there is some grind to it. I only had problems with 2 bosses. Nothing that the 3 or 4 levels of grinding didn't take care of, but just as important as grinding is your weapons. You can buy your weapons or you can make your weapons. For the most part, I bought my weapons. I did make a couple of weapons. I did use a crafting system a couple of times just because I learned some new recipes, and it reminds me of Ignis, right? Uh, I have learned a new recipe. So kind of when Ignis has that in Final Fantasy 15, but yeah, for the most part, you don't need to use the crafting system. You can just buy your weapons, and especially if you're going to be grinding a lot, trust me, I went up in gold very quickly to where I quickly got one of the achievements was spend 50,000 I think in gold in a store in one sitting, and I did that. For the most part, you really don't need to craft your weapons. It's there if you want to use it. If you don't want to use it, that's perfectly fine. So, and like I said, the quest itself, you'll always be able to know what's going on because you have a variety of ways. You can go into miscellaneous. You can go open quests. There's quests that the NPCs will give you, and you can see what quests are open and which ones are closed. I recommend these just because you get special outfits that you can outfit your warriors with, and they're very nice. Sometimes some of them are pretty hard to get, but once you get them after a couple of hours of doing those little quests and you get these outfits, it's nice to see your fighters, fighting in those outfits. I do recommend that. Break every pot, open up every chest, do all the quests. You end up getting little coins, which later on you can trade them into a store, and you can get some really awesome weapons that'll definitely help you out throughout the game. Now the game comes in MIDI mode, which is music, MIDIs, which is what we're all used to, and it also comes with orchestrated. Do not try the MIDI; it's just regular beep bop, Super Nintendo MIDIs. Play it orchestrated. I play it orchestrated. Also comes in Japanese and in English. I tried them both. I stayed in English for the most part because the voice acting isn't bad. The voice acting is actually pretty freaking good. So, you don't need to put it in Japanese. I know a lot of RPGs, I put them in Japanese just because it looks like an anime. And, this one looks like an anime. It looks like Dragon Ball. Akira Toriyama did it after all. So, now, another thing. This game comes in 2D mode, 3D mode, 2D mode, which is Super Nintendo mode, just like the 3DS. Came out in Japan, the Dragon Quest on the 3DS. Again, if you're going to do a second playthrough of the game, then I recommend 2D mode. For the most part, go 3D mode. 3D mode English, I think that's the best thing. It is the definitive edition, as Square Enix has said. I played all the Dragon Quest games. I played my first ones when I was 7 years old. I played it on the Nintendo. My favorite one has always been Dragon Quest 7, which a lot of people say is really hard. It's one of the hardest ones to beat. That one took me a very long time to beat. But after playing Dragon Quest 11, I can definitely say that this is my new favorite Dragon Quest game. It is my favorite game on the Switch. Besides Breath of the Wild, I have not played a game that has kept me glued to my Switch for so many hours, especially whenever I have finals coming up, and I gotta figure that out. There's some bad guys that you can also ride in this game, like that bad guy right there. I was gonna ride him, but I ended up disrupting the other one. But look, I'm already in him, and a lot of these guys you can ride on to be able to jump into ledges. You can get on a dragonfly. You can get into a little creepy crawler, and also you can crawl on walls. So there's a lot of that. There's a lot of stuff in this game that I'm not even touching. This game is massive. You think you finished the game, you didn't. Then you think you finished the game, you didn't. Then you think you finished the game, you didn't. This game, it's like its own sequel. This game is its own second part, its third part. It's its own. I don't even know how to explain it. Dragon Quest is its own world. You don't need to play any previous Dragon Quest to play this one. I actually recommend that if you've never played Dragon Quest, start out with this one. If you really like it, then you can start going for number 8. If you really like number 8, then I would suggest you start going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. I would suggest 7 being your last one. But anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, and comment. God bless. Shh. Mwah. I love you a lot. Bye.
2, 4, 6, 8. Going to